Welcome to Team Earth production presentation of Heiva Tuaro Maohi. I'm your host, Jim Dunkel, and we are in the South Pacific, exploring traditional and indigenous sports and games on the island of Tahiti. Over the last 2 weeks, we've been able to capture the Heiva Tuaro Maohi from the 5 archipelagos here on the island of Tahiti. The Marquesas, the Australs, Tuamotu, Gambier, and the Society Islands, representing over 118 islands here in the South Pacific. Mr. Wohler Alexander,
Yes.
the International Sports Association and the International Sports Atlas and the American Geosports is very proud to be here with you today.
Hawaii, you're welcome because we need to show our practice on sports, traditional sports, and this is one of the most appreciated kind of sports. We do make it with the songs, with the dancings on Toata Place.
Athletes climb the coconut tree to the marked destination in a race against the clock. The champion will reach the finish line in a few seconds. This sport is practiced all year long on every archipelago. The distance from the starting point to the finish is 60 feet. It's believed back in the day this event was created by island local who could reach the vantage point from atop of the coconut tree to alert their fellow islanders that they saw ships approaching either from other continents or other islanders from neighboring archipelagos for a friendly visit or with the intent of causing war. Coconut preparation and coconut shredding competition is an event that has long occupied prominent position in Polynesian life. So it's only natural that this event is highlighted during the Festival of Heiva. Men's individual copra consists of one person shredding 100 coconuts within a 3-minute period. Each individual must come equipped with an axe handle, a husking instrument or a flattened head knife, and a stool, which is optional for the competition. Officials and judges check and count each competitor's number of coconuts. The competition is complete when he or she has successfully and properly peeled coconut shells, then extracted the pulp from the inner shell and placed all pieces of the pulp in hessian bags, fluff pile the rows, and then clean the individual competition area in the fastest time. He or she who completes the first task is declared the winner. This is indeed a race against time. Centuries before Europeans concluded that the Earth was round, the great voyagers of Polynesia had already mastered the Pacific Ocean. Here, every year, 700 single-shelled canoes with adaptations from hollowed-out wood coconut trees to modern-day sports technology and materials allow the ancient sporting world to merge with the modern world. The start of the race is given by a long beep and a yellow flag is lowered, but all canoes must be behind the starting line prior to the lowering of the yellow flag. Point Venus to Mahina Bay, the very same bay which Captain Bligh and his crew aboard His Majesty's Bounty sailed into 200 years ago, and the legendary mutiny took place that is still long-standing in history books and Hollywood motion pictures. Competition events feature masters and Aito strongmen, with the masters circling the 20-mile course from Point Venus to Mahina Bay, and the Aito strongmen with doubling the distance by circling the course to complete 40 miles. Competitors practice rigorously all year long, every day, for this annual canoe paddling event. Tahiti leads the world in single-shell canoe paddling. The Vahine, or women's stones lift, have two categories, Vahine 1 category and a Vahine 2 category. Stones less than 130 pounds and Vahine 2 stones weighing more than 130 pounds. Women must wear traditional pareos from their archipelago, regardless of what island or atoll they are from. The pareo requires local style and fabric design, and women must be barefoot with no jewelry. Personal accessories are not allowed during the stones lift competition. You'll hear more about this later in the men's competition. The fruit-carrying race, the Race of the Banana Bear, is very popular throughout the event of Heiva. The race consists of running up to 1,500 meters with 60 to 150 pounds of fruit attached to a bamboo yoke for men and 30 to 60 pounds for women. There are 6 categories of fruit-carrying races for the Vahine female events, ranging from 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, and 60 pounds. The events are individual masters for young women under 30, master relays, and master events where team points are scored by compiling the most amount of points and placed in each event. Men have up to 3 masters divisions depending on age and the amount of weight carried during the events. The men's events are specialized in Aito strongmen and super Aito strongmen. Aito divisions are determined by distance and the amount of weight carried through each event. No fruit or bamboo yoke may hit the ground from the beginning to the end or during the relay handoff. During the race, one will find the course line with somewhat of a Grand Prix track design with junction crossings, bends, and overpasses. Officials will line the course to ensure a smooth running of the race and make sure that all the rules and regulations have been held to and accountable by the French Polynesian Sports and Games Federation. Violations, infractions during the race may be sanctioned by 10-second penalties, decommissioning competitors, exclusion from competition, or even fining teams with Central French Polynesian francs. Rules may be enforced for such violations as the load of fruit must be across each runner's shoulders except when changing shoulders to distribute the weight. One may not accompany a competitor during the race. No outside person may enter the competition to follow a particular competitor or group of competitors. Throwing the load down before or after the finish line is not allowed. When it comes to the relay, during the relay, the load must be received 5 meters after the finish line. Any altering of the yoke's weight before or after the finish line is an infringement of the rules. Here comes our guest competitor from London, England. It's David Constable. He's the second man back. David is a journalist for Tatler Media.
My name's David Constable and I'm a journalist from London. and I'm in Tahiti to participate in the Heiva, the indigenous sports. And the two events I've gone in for was the javelin and the fruit carrying. The fruit carrying is a 800 meters roughly race. The race of the banana bearers, it's also been known as, and this was in bare feet in sticky afternoon heat, and this was by far more athletic, more painful, more grueling than the javelin. It was probably about 32 degrees Celsius, bare feet, the concrete was hot. I was carrying a wooden beam with fruit on for 2 laps, about 800 meters. And that was by far the most grueling sporting event I've ever done. There were young people, there were old people, there was someone in my race who was 64 who's been doing it for over 15 years.
Today have been played for over 1,000 years, and the replication of these games are equally as significant as they were 1,000 years ago today. We're finishing up with the javelin, the stones lift, and later on today we'll have some copra and coconut tree climbing, which has been integral to the success and the participation of all tribes.
Earlier, you saw the one-man coconut shredding competition. This is the three-man coconut shredding competition, which will take 3 men to extract 200 coconuts within the same amount of time with the same instruments as the main individual one-man events. There's a hike man who hikes the ball or throws the coconut to each individual on the team. That would be next the axe man. The axe man will split the coconut in 2. Will then go to the pulp man, who shreds the coconut and extracts the pulp out of the nut and is placed in a hessian bag. Not only are they competing against each other, they're racing against the clock, which makes this event fast and grueling as well. Moving on to the stone lift, look at the size of that rock. It takes 2 men to bring it into the arena. Here is the Super Aito stone lift champion. Look at his winning technique. If you think it's easy, Take a look at this guy. He's been struggling for the last 2 tries. He has one more try to try and get the 300-pound stone up and stabilize it on his shoulder. Each competitor has his own style and different technique of how he's going to lift the stone. This guy spends 2 minutes on the approach alone. The stone lifting is an ancestral discipline which takes its origin from the Austral archipelago on the island of Rurutu. The trail of strength and the rapidity consisting of lifting between 160 pounds to 385 pounds in a short amount of time. This is a very impressive sport for strength and speed. Each athlete has 3 tries at each weight category to lift the stone, but also to lift it in the fastest time. Like all sports from the French Polynesian Traditional Federation, even lifting huge volumes of weight is still a race against the clock. He who can lift the stone, according to their category, as quickly as possible from the ground to the shoulder, stabilize and stand, balance one hand on the stone for a certain amount of time is declared the winner by timers, judges, and officials. Men must be barefoot, shirtless, and wearing a sarong from one of the 5 archipelagos. In case of a tie, the sum of 2 tries on the sunrise stone lift will be considered the winner. As in golf, low score wins. There are no age categories for over 40. For all competitors, except minors under 18 will require parental consent. In order to compete in the 300-pound class or open event, the activity requires technical certification, which allows only licensed porters to compete in this event.
Esse. Não mais.
History recounts the adventures of the gods and warriors in colorful legends where javelin throwing was a sport of the gods and surfing was favored by the kings. This now traditional sport uses good accuracy and agility. It is referred to as the patiafa in the Maori language. In French Polynesia, the javelin throw needs a target. This target takes form of a coconut hoisted on a 30-foot pole. This pole is placed 70 feet away from the shooting range. The object of all competitors is to target the coconut. The coconut is divided horizontally into 5 parts. Each part gives different points to the athlete. The highest part gives the most points. Like in darts, the competitor scoring the most points after all the rounds are completed is the winner. The contest is open to both men and women. Each athlete has 10 javelins with distinct markings for each personalized contestant. These javelins are cut directly from flexible wood like mulberry or gardenia. Each javelin has to be the length of the thrower or longer. The throws are made by a series of 10. Each player has 7 minutes to hit the target. The succession of throws offers a colorful array of javelins showering in the sky. Eventually, the coconut is covered by numerous spears. It's not as easy as you think to plant a spear in a distant coconut. After each round, the target is recovered by the referee to count the points. This wraps up our coverage of the Heiva Tuaro Maohi. On behalf of Team Earth Productions, this is Jim Dunkel. Join us next time as we explore the globe of traditional indigenous sports to find the world's best athletes.